Good evening. Welcome back. Welcome to Cloud and DevOps Batch 56. Today is the session 3 of our Cloud DevOps Batch 56. So before I start the session, I would like to give a quick recap on what's been covered in the previous session. Previous session, we started with the notion of, okay, we kept a goal of creating a server on AWS Cloud. And to create a server on AWS Cloud, we need to use a service, and the name of the service is EC2. Using EC2 service, we provisioned a CentOS 7 server on the top of our AWS Cloud. Okay, and EC2 is a name of the service, and the full form of EC2 is Elastic Cloud Compute. Everything is a service in AWS Cloud, okay, which we are going to access each and every service over web. Okay, and we created a server and we connected to it. And also we spoke about the concept of high availability. So how can you create the infrastructure that is tolerant to a zone failure? How can you create an infrastructure that is tolerant to two zone failure? Okay, so whether you need to create the infrastructure availability, keeping zonal failure or multi-zonal failure is something your business decides based on how important your business is, how much money you're making out of the business, and these metrics define what is a return of investment. Okay, return of investment is nothing but how much money you're investing, what is the money that you're getting out of it. So based on that, your companies think about it. Also, it also depends on how much availability that you promise your customer. So yesterday we also saw uptime dot is there. We have seen what is 99.9%, what is 99.99%, what is 99.999. Typically, people call it as a 2 nines, 3 nines, 4 nines, 5 nines availability. Okay, in order to achieve the zonal availability, we create the pairs of infrastructure in different zones. Okay, also we have seen what is the ideal time required to install an operating system. Typically, everyone mentioned that it's gonna take almost 5 minutes or 20 to 30 minutes of time if it is a Linux machine to install an operating system. If it is Windows, it's gonna take 1 to 1.5 hour time. But we clearly demonstrated in cloud, if you create any of the infrastructure, you can create the server, including the operating system, that comes up in less than 30 seconds or less than 1 minute. It all depends on the size of the server, but we can say in less than 1 minute, you'll get a server with operating system installed. How? Because with the help of a concept called as AMI. AMI stands for Amazon Machine Image. So Amazon offers you machine image, and using that, we are going to connect. Also, we have discussed about AWS Global Map. Okay, AWS Global Infrastructure. Yesterday, I got some interesting questions. So I want to touch base on that first. All right, AWS Global Infrastructure Map. You come to here, you scroll down all the way down. All the way down. And if you see this, in Mumbai, a lot of people have asked me, Hyderabad, you could see 3 availability zones. That's fine. And someone have also asked me, what is this local zone? Why those local zones are not there? By the way, what is this local zone is a very important question that someone has asked. Okay, someone volunteer me. I'm gonna answer this question at the end. Okay, what is a local zone? Why those local zones are not available in Hyderabad? Also, if you come here and if you see here, if you will go to the North Virginia, and in the North Virginia, you have 6 availability zones, while rest of the places you see 2, 3, 4. But North Virginia is a very biggest region with multiple zones, and at the same time, it has 14 local zones. Also, you can see wavelength zones are 8. What is this wavelength zone? What is this local zone? Okay, this is some important, not important. This is a good piece of information to be aware of, which we might not be using it, but still knowing this information is very it's going to add some potential value when you answer these kind of questions during your interview. Okay, so I would like to keep the curiosity on. What I'm going to do is I would like to keep this question on hold, and I would like to request someone to remind me at the end of the session. I would like to demonstrate this. All right, that is one thing I wanna talk. And also yesterday, we clearly spoke about how the authentication works. In Windows, we authenticate using something called as RDP. So, okay, using the RDP session, RDP client, that we are a client is nothing but a client is nothing but who is the request initiator. In our case, you are the client. So if I say client-based software, that means it's a software that needs to be installed on your computer. If I say it's a server-based software, that means you need to install that on the top of the software. So in Linux, typically authentication goes by username and password. Even at enterprise, it only goes by username and password. And authentication by username and password is a standard. Just like how Windows is going, even Linux offers that. And that is a standard. And even we need to stick to that. But what I want to do is I would like to talk about one more level of authentication, which is nothing but passwordless authentication, which we discussed. Passwordless authentication goes by a key pair. That means two set of keys. Okay, one is a public key and another is a private key. Public key, private key concept we clearly make it understandable by using the concept of lock and key. So public key is something which will be installed on the top, which will be placed on the top of the server. Okay, and private key is a sensitive piece of information which will be placed on your local local computer. Also, I clearly explained. Okay, and yesterday a lot of people approached me. I think I want to thank each and everyone who are approaching me back with the set of questions. What is this? What is that? I really love to take up the questions, and you're always open to reach me. And yesterday a lot of people have reached me about this. Okay, Manu, if it is not being used in the corporate, if we are using username and password, why are you teaching this? So you should know this. If you are a Linux guy and if you are a cloud or DevOps guy, it is expected to know small things. Okay, small things as well, because in organizations, if you don't know this and if you're applying for big positions, you won't be having better value. And at the same time, people can easily anticipate that you don't know anything. Okay, so that's the reason we want to cover each and every topic. Okay, so public key, private key. So public key is something which will be placed on the server. Private key is something which you'll be keeping it on the top of your server. And in order to connect to it, you need to install software. What is the software that you are going to install? Okay, so in order to establish connection, okay, what we did, let me try to explain that. Okay, it depends on the type of software, it depends on the type of operating system that you're using. The key-based authentication, okay, in order to enable the key-based authentication, you can either use, okay, PuTTY or Excel. PuTTY or Excel. Both of them are client-based softwares only. Okay, so either if you're using a Windows machine, you need to install either PuTTY or Excel, or if you're using Mac or Linux, okay, you'll have a local terminal. Okay, not terminate, local terminal. Using the terminal, okay, using the terminal you can connect to that. Okay, so we also shown that, okay, in the keys are of two types, PuTTY PPK format and OpenSSL format. And if you're using PuTTY, you need to use PPK format. And if you're using Mac or Linux, or if you prefer to use PPK files as well, you can also do that. Okay, I would like to demonstrate it one more time. So for that, I would like to delete the keys that whatever I have. Okay, because yesterday I downloaded the keys. I just assume that we don't know anything, and then we'll start from there. Okay, also I'm just deleting this key. I do not want it. Let's assume that I don't have it. So first I would like to create a server. So this time I'll be quick because yesterday we already covered it. So I'll be little quick because a lot of people has requested me to explain one more time. And with that interest, I'm going to explain it one more time. So I'm going to sign in, and the email address is trainer.manuverma.6am. And this is my user account and this is a password. And I'm going to sign in. And what is the name of the service, guys? EC2. EC2 is the Elastic Cloud Compute that helps us in that's servers as a service or infrastructure as a service. Okay, what I would like to do, I would like to create a server. Okay, so I would like to start from keys. Come here, launch an instance. And guys, I want to make it one point very clear. AWS offers its infrastructure across the globe in multiple regions, right? Where in which region you are supposed to provision the infrastructure, in which region your company's infrastructure is going to provision is something your company decides. And once that is designed, you're gonna stick to that place, and you're not going to go around different regions. Today I'll create my infrastructure in North Virginia, tomorrow I'll create my infrastructure in Mumbai, and day after tomorrow I'll create my infrastructure in Ireland. No, it will not work that way. You select a region and you create the infrastructure only in the region. Even in reality it's like that. Even during the training, every one of you, I want to ensure you stick to this region, North Virginia. Each and every region, this is for human understanding purpose. Okay, this is for the human understanding purpose. For each and every region, logically, there are also names that are tagged. Okay, so North Virginia, US East 1, Ohio, US East 2, North California, US West 1, Oregon, US West 2, likewise and like forth. Each and every region has a location name as per the logical entities, as per the direction where they are. Okay, so US East 1, okay, is North Virginia. In my training, I'm gonna stick to North Virginia because in North Virginia billing is less. Okay, I'll talk about billing in detail today. Okay, so let's also talk about this. For example, if you create an infrastructure in North Virginia, and again if you create the same infrastructure in Mumbai, the billing would vary because local currency value, local billing value, and local taxation, local law of the land, everything changes by law of the land, right? So billing predominantly varies. So I would like to create a server, Linux, Linux lab machine, and I would like to create some CentOS machine. Come here, search, go to the community. Community is you get almost everything free here in the community. So come here and I would like to search for CentOS. Okay, today we're gonna do with anything. I'm okay with anything. Go with the CentOS. Search is going on. And I would like to go with CentOS 7, US East 1 image, CentOS 7. All right, so B56 lab image. So it is adding the image. And if you come here and look at it, my AMIs instance type. And guys, yesterday I clearly mentioned about it. Each and every CPU and memory combination, Amazon has mentioned certain names. Okay, when any of your customer or any of your application team requests you, hey, I want to provision a server, you need to ask, okay, what is the operating system that you're expecting? What type of application are you going to run? What is the CPU and what is the memory? What is the underlying disk requirement for this? How long you are going to run? And based on that, you need to understand that, and then you need to do certain calculation. Okay, whether it is costing $100 per month or $200 per month or $300 per month, and in which environment is he going to run. So guys, is my voice low? Anyone? Or is it clear? Anyone? All right. Okay, thank you. So based on the, what are we talking? Yeah. So based on the, what are we talking? Based on the number of CPUs and number of amount of memory that we are giving, each and every combination will have a name. And even after that, okay, if you get a request from your application team or application owner, I want a server with Linux operating system, you need to ask, okay, in Linux, which flavor you want? What is the size of the machine that you're expecting? Okay, you need to ask these questions. Okay, what is the size of the machine that you're expecting? So open the notepad. When you get a server requirement, when you are asked to provision you're supposed to ask questions. What is the OS you want and its version? Okay, if they say Windows 8 or Windows 10. If they say Linux, which Linux, which flavor? Okay, what is the flavor you want? Okay, what is the type of application you want? Okay, what is the type of application that you are going to run? Next, how many CPUs you want? How many CPUs or memory? How much GB? How many CPUs? How much CPUs? How many CPUs are you expecting to have? What is the billing of? What is the, how long you are planning to run this application? Okay, how many hours a day this application is going to run? There are certain application which runs during the business hours, like morning 10, 8 o'clock to evening 6 o'clock. After that, from after 6 o'clock to next day 6 o'clock, there is no need because employees won't be there. For example, if it is a leave portal, which works only during the business hours, rest of the times there is no point of keeping it up, right? So you need to ask all these questions, and based on that, you need to do the billing calculation. So based on the billing calculation, you need to say, do you have an approval? If you don't, if you have an approval, can you get this approved by your manager? And if he approves, then you need to pass it to your manager. Then you are going to provision. Okay, it's not like everyone knows how to create a server, but these are the factors that you should be knowing if you are applying for any role. These things are very much important. You should be knowing it. So you'll not straight away go ahead and give the server here. Thank you. Please use it. No, you'll never do that. Right? This is how it works. So scroll down, and each and every CPU and memory has a combination, right? This combination is referred as a, okay, instance type. Okay, how many number of CPUs and how many number of memory is a combination. The best combination which gives you the better performance is something you need to decide. For example, you are using a gaming based application that requires more CPU, like it requires 32 gigs of CPU and 64 GB of RAM. Okay, for example, yours is a memory based application. For example, if you are using a database which consumes more memory, then you need to select the instance that is having highest CPU. So how much CPU and memory that you want is something you need to decide. Okay, not you are not going to decide. Your project team has to, or the application team expects that my expectation is this application needs this much amount of CPU, this much amount of, and based on that, we are going to run. All right. Perfect. All right, now let's try to start. Now I would like to go with T2 micro is free, okay, but I would like to go with some bigger instance. So come here. Okay, if I go with T2 medium, I guess 2 CPUs and 4 gigs of RAM. And if you go with some C stands for, it's a compute oriented machine that gives you 96 CPUs and 192 GB of memory. If your application is memory CPU based or processor oriented CPU based application which requires more processing power, you need to go with this C series. Okay, and similarly you also have other varieties which are not enabled, okay, which are paid, and M7, okay, which is nothing but highest memory. So 4 CPUs and 16 GB, 2 CPUs and 8 GB of memory. See, large 16 CPUs and 64 GB of memory. So based on the type of application you want to use, and if you see this, you see T2 micro, right? So T2 here, T2 stands for second generation hardware. T2 stands for second generation hardware. Okay, now right now this second generation of hardware, I told you, right, hardware refresh. For every 8 years once, we are going to replace the hardware. In that category, T2 is a type of hardware which is introduced in Amazon in 2015 or 16. Since then till 2001 it is there. From 2022, not 2001, 2021, from 2022 Amazon also has introduced a T series, T3, which is a third generation hardware. Okay, if in your organizations, if you are creating the brand new infrastructure, we always go with T3. However, it is not free. T3 micro is a new generation or the third generation hardware that gives you 2 CPUs and 1 gig of RAM, and I'm gonna go with that because things will be little quick. Yesterday, if you see, if I go with free tier, I need to wait for 30 seconds to 60 seconds. I need to respect your time. That's the reason I'm gonna go with some T3 micro. In your case, you are supposed to use T2 micro only. Okay, and here I'm gonna say, do you want to proceed without a key pair or with key pair? I would like to proceed with the key pair. I would like to create. Okay, so I would like to mention B55 PPK. Okay, so because we are also going to use other type as well, so that's the reason I would like to use. And whether you want to go with putty, PPK or PEM. Okay, since we are having PPK, I would like to click this and create a new pair. So B55 PPK is downloaded. Now all I do is just say launch the instance. Now this instance is going to be launched. And once this is launched, I'm going to talk about few more things. Before that, anyone have any questions? Before we proceed, anyone have any questions? If you're having any questions, you can raise your hand. Yeah, Shivarati, go ahead. Pawan Kumar, go ahead. You can talk. I have given you the mute option. You can unmute and
Yeah,
talk.
you are creating in AWS instance. You are creating, right? Just
Right.
now I have joined this
Yes.
meeting,
Yes. Yes.
so
You're
that's
right.
why I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay,
Yesterday also we
okay,
have
fine,
shown,
fine.
but since few of them has requested, I explained this.
Okay, fine, fine. That's all from my end.
Awesome. I could see one question from Gopi Mobile System. Do you have to use PPK and PPM? So we'll talk about that, Gopi. So yes, to answer that question, we need to use PEM, not PPM. Okay. But yeah, the next thing is that only. So then my mission is started. Click on this. And when you notice, I also want to talk a couple more points. Naming standard. In organizations, we are not going to keep the servers as server 001 or server 007, James Bond 007. No, we'll not keep like that. Naming standards matters a lot, and each and every company has their own way of naming standards. Okay, so naming standards. Typically in any organization, this is how things are going to be. Okay, so for example, see, when you're talking about naming standard, the main goal of the naming standard is this. Okay, just name should define what app is it is running. Okay, what type of machine it is, whether it is prod or pre-prod, and next, what is the OS that it has. Next, where is this located? Okay, this last option is only for on-prem. So back in 2011-12, when I started my career, at the time we were having our infrastructure on on-prem as well. So even on on-prem, we used to run our own data centers. One will be in Ohio, and another will be in Riverside, and another will be in Oregon. So for each and every location, we used to give the location as L01, L02, L03. So typically, each and every name should looks like this. Okay, name should look like this. L01, which defines it is in this server is in the location 1, and I want to understand this is running some payment application, L01 payment, LNX. Okay, and I can say it as a dev. Just by looking at this, I can understand this server is located in the data center L01, and it is running the payment application that is having Linux operating system, and it is a development based machine. And if you see another machine like this, ratings, Windows, you don't have to sign in and do this. Okay, these are the, for example, this is a QA machine. Just by looking at this, you should be understanding, okay, this machine belongs to L02 data center, which is nothing but California, for example, and this is running a window catalog ratings application, and the operating system that we are having within that is Windows, and this is a QA environment machine. That's how we are going to categorize if yours is a on-prem based infrastructure. On-prem BIM infrastructure. So in our case, okay, since we are dealing with training, so what we're going to do is, even see guys, in training also we are going to give importance to the standards a lot. Okay, so in every organization has their own set of standards. Okay, so we need to stick to the standards. So since we are creating a Linux server, and that's the reason I mentioned B56, which means it's a batch 56 Linux lab server. Okay, just by looking at this, I can clearly understand that we created this for the purpose of learning Linux. So standards matters a lot. So we need to stick to the standards. All right, that's very important. So we need to focus more in standards, because you learn technology anywhere, you get it in the internet, but standards are something which comes with experience, and that's where I can also help you with. Okay, the way you talk, the way you represent in interviews determines whether you really worked or not. Okay, no one really want to give a job to someone who just learned and coming, right? At least you need to portray, yeah, I know that. Okay, yeah, that's how things are going to work. And I can give you an example. I know one person. She's from, I don't want to use her name. She's from Italy, and she just did her masters, and then she started looking for an opportunity in India. She was having a analyst experience, not really a technology experience. Analyst experience, complete is non-technical. She completed the course, and she started from very basic. She completed the course, and she genuinely practiced every day. And she attempted 3 interviews. Third interview, she cleared the job. And she did mention that in the second round of interview, there are 5 members who took her interview. She is able to clear. Okay, so it's doable whether you know the things or don't know the things. If you are ready to learn, I am ready to teach. Okay, let's follow the standards, and whatever the standards that I'm following are very close to what in organizations people use. And I follow the training based on the white papers. Okay, a lot of companies, a lot of individuals present white papers telling that if you follow these standards, you can enhance the productivity, and this is how things are going to be. And every company follows such kind of white papers. Even we are going to follow such kind of standards. So if we are doing something, just try to ensure that this is close to what is being used in the industry standard. All right, so yeah. All right, perfect. Mhm. So yeah, my server is up, and guys, if you look at this, you can also see something called as status check. The status check is initializing. What is this initializing means? Okay, the system is started, okay, but some operating system process are still coming up, and that's the reason you cannot connect to it. And if you also see, you can see 2 by 2 checks passed. What is this 2 by 2 checks? What is this 2 by 2 checks? Let's talk about it. So if someone reports, so this is very important thing. Whenever someone reports that, hey, I'm not able to connect to the server, can you please check? Don't worry about it. If someone reports that they are not able to connect to the server, the first thing that you need to do is understand what is the IP address that you're using, and understand what is the name of the machine that you're using. Come to the console and look for the machine and see what is the status of the 2 by 2 checks. Okay, you can select that particular machine, and at the bottom you have status checks. Come here and click on the status checks, and here you could see a couple of checks: system status checks and instance status checks. What is the system status check? What is this instance status check? These are the hardware checks, and these are the software checks. Let's talk about them in detail. Okay. For example, this is Amazon's data center. And within the data center, there's a big server, physical server, HP server. Okay. Okay. You created a server with, it's a Linux server with 4 CPU and 16 gigs of RAM. You provisioned a machine. Okay. You provisioned a machine. Okay. Now, technically, this is a physical machine. Okay. So this is a server, physical machine, and this is the virtual machine. Okay. This is a virtual machine. In Azure world, we call it as a VM. In AWS world, we call it as an instance. Okay. So technically, all of them are same. Technically, it's a virtual machine. Okay. You can run n number of virtual machines on the top of a single physical machine. Having said that, you need to have the available resources. That's it. So here, the system status checks is nothing but the underlying hardware checks. Okay. What is the status of the underlying machine? Okay. System checks. These are instance status checks. Okay. These are system statistics and these are instance statistics. Instance statistics are nothing but the actual virtual machine checks. What is the status of it? Sometimes, what do you say? This checks will pass, but the machine is having an issue. For example, as a part of the startup, it encountered an issue and it's restarting. So at that time, you will see system checks would be qualified, but the instance checks, sorry, not system, instance checks would be failed. Okay. And sometimes there are also certain things. What happens is in the Amazon's infrastructure. See, guys, end of the day, everything is a server, right? Whether you manage it or someone else manage it. Sometimes the physical host also fails sometimes. Okay. So whenever such things happen, you know what will happen? Okay. So the machine goes for a restart on other server. Okay. Amazon immediately, okay, reprovisions it on the top of other server. Okay. There won't be any data loss. Okay. But the server goes for a restart. This will be a very important question. If you're running any virtual machine on the top of any server, and because of this is very famous interview question, you take any blog, you'll see this. Okay. For example, you are running a your server on the top of a machine, and because of some XYZ reason, the underlying hardware failed. And because of that, and in that situation, what happens to the underlying VM? Nothing will happen to the VM. All it happens is it goes for a shutdown. The machine shutdowns. The same machine will be provisioned. Okay, everything will be coming up here automatically. So it all happens in less than 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, so this is called as a auto healing. Okay, so which is there in Amazon, Google Cloud, or Azure Cloud. This is called as auto healing. But again, it's not instant. It takes 1 to 2 minutes of time. All right, that is one point. At that time, you can also see that in system statistics would be failed. Okay, that's one point, very important. And this is something yesterday I told you one story, right? My batch 53 student, batch 54 student, she got an opportunity. She was being asked that. Okay, exact point we discussed in the previous batch also. So I want to iterate that. All right, is it clear? Awesome. Okay, so having said that, my server would have been up, and you can see that both of them are operational. You can see that system status checks passed, system reachability check are qualified, and instance status checks are qualified. Now all I do is I'll come here, I'll copy my public IP address, I'll open my putty, type putty. Okay, enter the IP address. And what is this 22? We'll talk about it. It is called as a port. Each and every service runs on a specific port number. Okay, so we'll talk about this in detail in the next session. But for now, SSH, if you want to connect to Linux machine, SSH by default works on port number 22. But what is a port? What is a network? We'll talk about that in a detailed session. So come here, click on this SSH plus button, and then click on this plus auth, click on the credentials, and browse the private key that you have downloaded. In my case, B55 PPK, copy that and run. Now it asks you what is the user of it. Okay. Now what is this? So yesterday also I have asked this, Manu, when you are connecting for the first time, you got this. It's asking something called as, hey, you're trying to connect to this server for the very first time. Do you want to register your footprint on the top of the server? What the hell is this? This is called as host key verification. This is a mechanism on Linux based machines. What exactly does that mean? As I said, Linux is a very secure machine. Okay, this means when you as a user, when you're attempting to connect to the server for the very first time from this computer, from my computer, I'm trying to connect to the server for the very first time. That means the server don't know, even I don't know, right? It is telling, hey, you're connecting to the server for the first time. Are you sure that you want to connect to that? That means your entry will be registered. That is called as a fingerprint. Okay, so the moment you say accept, your details are going to be registered. Just say CentOS. CentOS is a default user account for all CentOS based machines. Enter. Now you are going to be connected. Authenticating with the help of the public key B55 BPK, you are connected. Who am I? Is a Linux command which is going to tell you who you are. I'm connecting as a CentOS user, and that's the reason it is showing as CentOS. All right, but again, if you exit from here and again you try to open putty, come here again, try to connect. Credentials. Did I mention that? credentials, browse, come here and click on this. Open it. I'll enter the username as CentOS. That's it. Now it didn't ask, do you want to connect or not? Only for the first time when you're connecting from a local, it's going to report. All right. Perfect. That's it. Now, next thing I want to talk, okay, next thing is, for example, if yours is a Mac machine, or if yours is a Linux machine, or, and another thing, Putty is a very old tool. If you don't like Putty and if you want to use some advanced tools like Git Bash or local terminal or your Mobaxterm, okay, and few people are interested in few tools. Okay, let's assume you're a Linux user. When you're a Linux user or a Mac user, if you right click your mouse on your desktop, you will have an option called as terminal. That is the default terminal. That's called as a default terminal. So that default terminal is something which you can get for Linux and Mac based machines. So this topic I want to talk after a few minutes. Before that, let's take up some questions. Anyone have any questions? I could see Shiva Reddy question, Pavan, Chinmay, Mozam. Yeah, I have given you the option to talk. Go ahead, one by one. Yeah. Chinmay, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Manoj.
You're,
I just,
I can barely hear you. Maybe if you're speaking, you should be close to microphone.
okay, am I audible now?
No.
Okay, talk now.
Can you hear me,
Yeah,
Mozam?
it is fine now.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Yes.
Okay, Manoj. So my question is that as you were showing that when a physical server or the host that fails, then like the virtual machine will go to the by default to the nearest physical server,
Yes, obviously.
or
Yes.
how that works, like how
Nearest available. That's it. The answer is very
then
simple and straight.
okay,
And
the
this is
nearest
not a rocket science concept that was introduced by cloud. Before cloud evolution itself, there was a concept called as virtualization, VMware. Okay. There they used to call this concept as fault tolerance. If the virtual machine dies in a node where you're running, it
what
automatically
tolerance?
creates, yes, fault tolerant machine. Yes.
Fault tolerance?
Yes.
Fault, okay.
Yeah.
And
Tolerant to the fault. Okay.
tolerant
The
to the
same
fault.
concept, but they
Okay.
don't say what's going on in the background. But so this is the background that goes. Yeah.
Okay. And also, can you repeat the last thing before you said before taking questions? Like
Mhm.
before taking questions, the how you went to that like was that like local terminal or where you went?
We'll go there. We'll go there. We can park
Okay.
that. I'll explain it. I didn't go there. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll explain
Yeah,
that
hi,
how to
Manoj.
get that as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Thank
Manoj,
you.
Yeah,
I have
Pavan.
a couple of questions.
Over
Yeah,
to you.
hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Manoj, am
Okay.
I audible to you?
Okay. Prakash, I want you to talk. Go ahead, Prakash.
Yeah. So there are a couple of questions. First is that when it's saying that auto healing is also same like that virtual scaling, VM scaling, auto scaling concept.
Um, they are not contingent. They are two independent concept. Okay.
Okay.
Whatever
And the
auto scaling you're
second,
talking does a different
okay.
job. Whatever I said is a
Okay.
different thing. They are not contingent to each other.
And second question is my that when you create the instance, can you please highlight a portion of public IP and private IP also,
Yeah. Yeah.
wherein there are two things like when we terminate the
We'll
VM, we
go there.
stop the
I
VM.
get that.
Yeah.
Let's take step by step. Okay. Okay. I get it what you covered. When you shut down the machine, it changes when to use public, when to use private. Right.
Hmm.
I have that in my agenda. So I'll cover that. And when to use public, when to use private, why two IPs, what is the need of private? And in reality, when you join any company, whether you see really public IP or not. So all these things are covered in my agenda. But I really appreciate you raised this question, but I'm gonna cover it in a very detailed note with the highest possible canvas and highlight. Okay.
Hello. Thanks.
Prakash, don't take me wrong. I wanna talk in a detailed context. But yes, I'll cover
Yes.
that.
Hello, Manoj.
Over to you, Pavan.
Yeah, what is the purpose of PPK in Linux OS?
Not purpose. Putty is there from a very long time. So they offered Putty for Putty is a client to connect to Linux based machines. just how you use RDP to connect to Windows-based machines, right? And if you want to use passwordless, the format of key that you need to use is PPK. That's it. Even if you are not using putty, you don't have to use PPK. Instead, you need to use some other format. Okay.
Yeah, don't connect to client. Don't use the PPK.
Yeah.
Hello.
If you don't want to connect, don't use PPK. That's it. If you're using something else, which I'm gonna use this. Okay. Again,
Yeah.
I'm telling today will be the last day that you guys gonna use keys till the end of the training. So today, I think the training will be ending by before Jan 3rd week. The training is going to end Jan 3rd week. Till that time, we'll never be using keys. This will be the last, okay? Because in organizations, we will not use keys. Username and password are the standard way of authentication. Keys is not authentication way of mechanism. I mean, it's a right way of authentication. Almost all the companies, 99.99% of the companies goes by username and password, and that is a standard way, okay? In case if you miss here and there with keys, understand the concept, that's fine, okay? You practice, you'll get it. Pawan, I
Hello,
don't think
Manoj.
I addressed your question.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, what is the purpose of instance and system checks?
They are checks, health checks. That's it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Simple. We are feeling good. We go to office and work. And if our health is not good, we go to office and work. Same thing. The same word they use. Health check. System
Yeah,
status
like
checks.
that.
If the status is
Yeah.
good,
Okay.
it's gonna
Yeah.
perform. If the status is not good, it's not gonna perform. Here it shows whether you can connect to the system or not, or whether the system is ready to accept the connection or not. That's it. All
Okay.
right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm understand.
Yeah, Chinmay, if you are ready to speak, you can. You
Yeah.
can speak little loud.
It is fine now.
Kind of better than the past, but still it's feeble.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
That's
Okay.
fine.
So,
You're great.
so this status check is like this is system reliability and instance level. Suppose one of the anything is down. So we have to report a like that another option is the report instance status.
It
So do we need to that for the ticketing purpose?
no. See, when someone designs something, keep this point in mind. Nothing is 100% true, or nothing can be 100% achievable. If someone designs something, no one can say it's gonna work 100% true, or no one can say this is 100% true. What they're saying is this is a recent edition, by the way. Okay. For example, if the checks are saying it is passed, but still, if you are not able to connect, that means these checks are incorrect. Agree?
Yes.
Then you can report the status. Okay, you can mention what exactly is my experience is performance problems, got stuck in a state, and my system is unresponsive. So that Amazon machine learning thing, see, it's all machine learning, right? Amazon's machine learning does come to know that some issue is there and they need to learn. You can also fire a ticket. Okay, you can report, hey, what are you telling is wrong? You can report that. That's what it says. Okay.
Another question, like suppose when you created the instance, there is some the naming convention is there, right? So how do you identify this L01 is for some location?
No,
Somewhere it's
that's
mentioned.
no. That is just an example I have given. When I was
Okay.
working for one of the company, I just said that this is how things will work. Okay, L01 can be anything. You will have a board telling that L01 means California, L02 means Mumbai, L03 means Australia. That's it.
Okay, it's
But
based on the company standard only. They have
that's it.
given the name. So
That's it. But within the cloud, you really don't have to, because whatever you see here, it's not touching. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
okay, and suppose I have created an instance, I just want to delete it. Twice I created two multiple instances I have created. One of them I want to delete it. So is there any option is there?
We don't use the word delete. Okay. In Google Cloud, we
Okay.
use the word delete. Here we use the word terminate. Terminate is like deleting. Okay. Terminating, destroying.
Oh, okay.
You're firing the
Okay.
server. You no longer need it. Having said that, you're going to lose the data. Okay. Okay. All right. So Mohit, you're asking something.
Yes, sir. Actually, I want to ask if a PPK file is required in Windows, or we can use the PEM file also.
Park that question. Yeah, park that question. I'll address that. Okay. Anyone? Gopi, yeah, please tell me.
Yeah, for the putty we are using PPK, right? So any particular tools was there to use PPM? Sorry, that PEM or
Yes,
PPK?
that's my next thing. Yeah, that's exactly my
Okay.
next thing right after I address the questions.
Yeah. Why? Because in an organizations you said that we
No,
have to
no,
use
we'll cover
password,
that. Yeah,
user ID.
you
Yeah.
don't have to
Okay.
explain.
Okay.
I'll take that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
No worries. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's get back to the topic. So guys, you don't like putty, you want to use some fancy tool, then you cannot use PPK. Instead, you need to use some other topic called as OpenSSL. So for example, you can also create the same server. So for example, let's assume I'm a Linux user or I'm a Mac user or I want to use Git Bash local terminal. I want every one of you to install this Git Bash. If you are a Windows user, this is going to give you a free hand. If you are a Windows user, okay, or if you are using Windows computer, ensure you download Git Bash, okay, terminal or to your Windows. This adds a terminal to your Windows machine. Okay, it's going to be very nice. Okay, that gives you a free hand to run commands like how you're running on Linux. How can I get that? It's very simple. Just go to the Google. Come here and just say Git Bash for Windows. Okay, come here and click on the downloads. Okay, just click on downloads. That's it. It's a very simple and straightforward software, and your system can be 32-bit or 64-bit. And if your computer is something which is bought in last 3 to 4 years, obviously it is a 64-bit. Click on this. That's going to download the software. It is simple like your VLC player. All you need to do is click next, 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 just like how you installed Putty. Done. Once it is done, you can click your Windows button and you can say Git Bash. It's going to show you. You have two options, Git CMD and Git Bash. Don't go with Git GUI, Git UI. Instead, you have Git Bash. Click on this. Okay. You can also use this terminal to connect. Okay. But if you don't want to use PPK, instead, if you want to use a file, you can also use that. So what I'm going to do is I would like to create a server. Now, I don't want this server. I would like to terminate it. Okay. Come here and terminate. I'm just terminating. That means it will be deleted forever. I would like to launch a machine by using PEM. Okay, so a few of the users in our training are also from Linux background, or people are using Mac or Linux machine. So in the interest of that, I'm going to show that as well. From here, I'll say B56 Linux lab server. PEM file. Okay, PPK. I'm using PEM. Just like PPK, PEM is also a file format. That's it. All right. Now I'll come here. I'll say in the community MIs. Search for it. Search for anything. I'm okay with anything. Okay, Kappa AMI. I would like to go with T3 Micro, which is a 3rd generation hardware. Okay. This will be somewhat little quick, but it is not a part of the free tier. But in the interest of time, I don't want to waste your time. And that's the reason I want to talk on this. Okay, T3 Micro. We selected that. Where it went. Yeah.
Manoj, sorry to interrupt you.
Hold
So
on.
while we are creating,
Hold on. Come here and try to select T3.micro. Don't want to interrupt the topic. Please wait for a couple of minutes. I'm going to address your question, Gopi. Just a request. If not, we'll lose track. Okay, we'll lose track. Okay. So yeah, this time I would like to give a try with PEM. Okay, for example, you can create a file B56 PEM key. Okay, and you can use PEM. Okay, PEM is a open SSH format. This is a putty format. If you are using putty, use this. If you are not using putty, if you're a Mac or Linux, or when you want to connect using Git Bash, you can use PEM.PEM. So this time it's going to download the same key pair, but in a different format. Same thing, different format. Okay, same movie, but with either MP4 format or 4K format. That's a different format. So here I'm gonna use B56 PEM. All the way down. I would like to mention T3 micro all the way down. And here you can also mention what is the size of the boot disk. Here it is saying 60 GB, but Amazon by default offers you a maximum of 30 GB as a part of the free tier. That means per month, you can use a maximum of 30 GB. If you cross beyond that, based on pay-as-you-go variation, based on how many number of seconds you use, Amazon is going to bill you. Okay. Okay, so here, come here and try to launch the machine, and the machine is going to be launched. Let it launch. All right, so this machine takes less than 1 minute of time to come up. Let's wait for it. Now you have also downloaded the key, right? And you downloaded the key, which is available in the downloads folder, right? Come here. Now what you can do is you can copy this image and you can put it in your home folder. Go to C in your users. Okay, my username is Manoj. I'm gonna place it here. Done. Okay. Now this mission is up and the status is showing running. And if you want to connect using command line, how can you connect? Okay, this is how you can connect. Okay, as I said, the entire infrastructure is purely based on Linux. And if you want to connect to any of the Linux based machine, okay, for example, if you want to sign into your Gmail, what is the username that you give? You can say that, okay, James Bond 007 @gmail.com, right? James Bond 001 @gmail.com. Here, James Bond is the username. The underlying server, okay, that means you are connecting to the Linux server by using your username as James Bond 007, and gmail.com is a server address. Okay, and that's the reason your Gmail address, everything are at. All of them are Linux conventions. And if you want to connect to any of the Linux server using command, you'll use the same thing, SSH-I, your key.pem. If you're trying to connect using authentication mechanism, CentOS @IP address, okay, or the username @IP address. Okay, so this is what we want to do now. Okay, the command is SSH. You're telling that I want to SSH to the server by using the key. Okay, and this is what we are going to use. Okay, but if your server is which works based on the authentication username and password, you really don't have to worry about any of this. What is this command, SSH-I and all? You don't have to worry. But in our case, since we want to use, I'm just trying to demonstrate this as well. So come here. Looks like your server is up. Refresh. It's still the status checks are not at qualified. All right. System reachability check is passed. Instant status check is true. Okay. We can also give it a try. Come here. And once your git bash is installed, you can come here, type git bash on your Windows. Or if you're Linux or Mac, just right click your mouse. You will see the terminal. Click on the terminal. That's it. Okay. SSH. Okay, then you need to mention what is the key, B56. Okay, B56 PEM.PEM, which is a key that I have downloaded. In your case, if you download it as B56 my key, it will be B56 my key. Or if you say my private key, it will be my private key. CentOS @IP address. Okay, this is how you can SSH to a server using commands. Now enter, and it says, hey, you're trying to connect to the server for the very first time. Your fingerprint is going to be registered. Do you want to register it? Yes, obviously. Then you are going to be connected to the server using the keys by using the putty PEM format. Okay. Who am I?
No, sorry to interrupt.
Hold on, Prakash. Hold on. If you see this, who am I? CentOS. Okay, that's how you can connect. You exit from here and try to connect and see you're connected without the need of any fingerprint. Okay, that is one way of doing. And yesterday someone has asked, hey Manu, you know that the username is CentOS and that's the reason you're entering. But what if I don't know? Okay, this is also a very famous interview question. What if? How do you come to know what is the default user account that you're supposed to use? Or how do you come to know what is the default user account of the server that you're trying to connect? Each and every server on AWS Cloud or Google Cloud will have a default user account. If it is CentOS, CentOS is a username. If it is Red Hat, EC2 user. If it is SUSE, EC2 user. How do I come to know? You can search in the documentation, come here, AWS EC2 CentOS default user. It says CentOS or EC2 user. Okay, clearly says EC2-user. And if you're using a CentOS AMI, it's a CentOS. For example, I'll ask what is the default user account of, default user account of Red Hat. I know the answer is EC2-user. Okay, they will say, what is the default password EC2-user and what is AWS EC2 Red Hat AMI? Let's put it more specific. EC2-user or root. So this is something that's specific to operating system, specific to flavor, but you take any flavor of Linux, whether it can be SUSE Linux, whether it is Red Hat Linux, whether it is CentOS, whether it is this, for any sort of Linux, root is the default user account. But none of them will allow you to connect using root. Root is a super user account. Technically, none of the people who are having access apart from the admin team or the DevOps team will have access to root. Root is the most powerful user, just like your administrator on Windows. Now, you know that you cannot connect using the root. So just a brute force, you can just give a try with root. Now you'll get an error. See, you're not supposed to connect and you cannot connect using root user. That's as per the security. Now you hit enter, it tells you some nice thing. Hey, you're trying to connect using the root user, but the default user is CentOS. Please use it. Please log in as a user CentOS rather than a root. This is a tip. This is a tip that you can use. Okay. This if someone asks you in the interview, you can say that. Okay, I can try to connect using CentOS root user. So it's going to pop me up what is the default user account that I'm supposed to use. This is one way of answering it in a smart way. Okay, I think Chinmay has asked this question. I just want to address that. Yesterday we are running out of time, and that's the reason I asked that. Okay. Now, Prakash, over to you.
When we use putty terminal, in that scenario, we are browsing the PPK file. And here you're just putting this hyphen PEM. So PEM need to be on certain location from where it has to pick the.
Yes. And if you remember, I downloaded the key and pasted it in my folder, right? C users Manoj. It's my directory, right? That's my directory. Correct? Agree? And that's why it is available here.
So you have opened the gate from where? From same folder location?
It will be by default your Manoj directory only. You don't have to change anything.
Okay.
Okay.
What if I save to the other location? In that case, I have to open the terminal from there, right?
Yeah. For example, just don't want to confuse others. I think, okay. You can, for example, if it is in downloads folder, I can say that this is in the downloads folder. You can also say that. Okay. You can also give the absolute.
Specify the path.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And now you understood why I copied to my directory, just to avoid telling people that use this to go there, use that, go there. So when we're talking about, we use switching of directories. Since we didn't talk, I just placed it in my directory, which is accessible. That's it. All right. Prakash, clear?
Yeah.
Clear. Next is Gopi. Gopi, go ahead.
Yeah, Manoj. While creating that instance, you said T1, T2, T3. So as we can create with any like T1 or T2 or T3.
You have
Hello?
three servers. You have three servers. First generation hardware, second generation hardware, and third generation hardware. First generation hardware you don't want to use because it's out of support. Second generation hardware is going to be out of support next year. Third generation support is going to be there for the next 3 years. So which one do you use?
Okay, got it.
Simple, yeah. Okay. Perfect. I could also see a question from Preeti, serverless. So serverless is not really serverless. Okay, you are going to run the applications, but the servers are managed by someone. Okay, Preeti. So for example, you wrote your developers has written a Java program, and that program needs to have a computing power of 8 CPUs and 64 gigs of RAM. And I want that to be running at every day 11:30. So for that, you really don't have to manage a server, install the operating system, and maintain that. You can create a serverless and schedule it every day. That particular time, Amazon is going to run your program on the top of somewhere of Amazon server, and they're going to give you the output. Serverless is not really serverless. Serverless means you don't manage a server. That's it. End of the day, you need a server, you need a computer. That's it. Okay.
Manoj, last question from me. Are we restricting user either to use putty or PEM? It can be either way, or we have to only choose one option at a time.
You can choose anything.
No. For example,
I'm saying you can choose anything. That means if you download it as a PEM, you can convert it to PPK. If you download it as a PPK, you can convert it into PEM. So server really doesn't care. Okay.
So I can go on the instance and download the PPK file or PEM file, right?
Yes. Actually, in the same putty itself, they have an option to convert a PPK to PEM. Okay. So there is something called as puttygen. Okay. You can convert PEM to PPK, PPK to PEM. Okay.
Thanks.
Manoj, in the organizations you said they don't use PEM or PPK. So we have to use user ID and password as you said. And it's if we do not use the PEM or PPK, so we have to use the user ID and password. Hello.
You know the answer. You know the answer. Yes, you said the right. Obviously. So how you are daily connecting to your computer? How you are connecting to your computer? How you are clocking your timesheets? How you are clocking your leaves on the applications? Are you entering keys or
No.
username and password? What is your corporate ID? Username and password, right? Agree?
Yes.
Everywhere you see them. Okay. They are just like your
So
mobile.
and it who will do that configurations? Like as a DevOps engineer, need to do that configuration or?
Okay. Let's not learn that way, Gopi. Okay. Who is going to do that? And based on that, let's not think that way. Understand the concept. If you get an opportunity, use it. Okay. Let's not worry about who's gonna use, who's not gonna use. It varies from company to company, Gopi. Okay. So let's not learn that way. Let's consider it as an opportunity to learn. Let's learn end to end.
And also one last question. One last question. So we can use that multiple tools like Putty, Mobaxtim, whatever they say. So it's depends on the organization, or maybe we will use in the
It depends
I
on
worked in
Gopi.
some other company.
Let's not complicate. These are multiple different tools. You can use anything. In certain companies, they don't allow Git Bash. In certain companies, they don't allow Mobaxtem. In certain companies, they don't allow that. End of the day, they are all different tools from different vendors. Really doesn't matter. If you say, Manu, if my company is not using Git Bash, use Putty. Say, Manoj, my company is not allowing Putty, use Mobaxtem. Simple. It's all a bike from different vendors. That's it. Okay.
Hello, Manoj.
Answers your question, Gopi?
Yeah. Okay.
Manoj, what is the difference to PPK and PEM?
They're just two different formats. Different formats. That's it.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, by using both formats, we can able to log in the server, right?
Yeah, you're right. 100% right.
Okay.
Anything is fine.
Hello, Manoj.
Okay. Yeah. So
There should be something. Both are different, right?
format.
What is that I am asking?
The format I'm telling, right? What is the difference between MP4 format and what is the difference between HD format? Format, right? You have a video.
That MP4, it will get some clarity.
That's a
That
format is
HD
different.
is some format is the different. We can see the way of seeing the picture is the quality is the different.
Shiva,
That's what same. Similarly, here something it would be available, right? Differentiation.
that's called as format. The format is different. Okay, you use numbers. Numbers is an authentication to authenticate phone. You use face authentication, right? That is also the authentication. Different formats of authentication. So
Okay,
PPK
okay,
is putty understandable format. PEM is not putty format.
okay,
Simple. Okay.
okay. That's what.
Yeah.
Hello,
Anyone
Manoj.
else?
Hello.
Yeah, Pawan.
Yeah, the CentOS is running the Linux basics commands.
No. CentOS is a Linux flavor. Okay. Linux is a kernel. CentOS is offered from CentOS, just like Red Hat.
Like
Right, Pawan?
not running the Linux commands.
No.
Hello.
You need to watch the previous session. You didn't watch the demo. Please watch the demo.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now I also want to add one more topic, which is okay. Whenever you're done with the practice, ensure you terminate the service. Okay. Till the time you get familiarized of what you're doing, ensure you terminate the service. You can come here, come and terminate the server. That's it. Okay. And next thing, how can I reach Amazon? For example, you got huge bill. You want to reach to Amazon. For example, I want to talk to Amazon because they have made me huge billing. I want to talk to them. For example, my server performance is not good. I want to talk to Amazon. For example, I want to talk telling that in my account, only 30 servers maximum are allowed. I want to go beyond and above. So how can I do that? Okay. So in order to do all these things, you need to talk to Amazon. Okay. You need to talk to Amazon. So how can you talk to Amazon? Okay, so you can talk to Amazon by using something called as portal. Okay, you can reach out to Amazon by raising support requests. So how to raise a support request is something I'm gonna talk. So before that, let me try to check the chat window if there are any questions. Certain questions are interesting, so I wanna take them. All right. I'm just going to the questions. Okay. Okay, perfect. I think most of the questions I addressed them. So the next thing is, how can I reach out to Amazon? Okay, so let me tell you one thing. Whenever you got more billing or whenever you need some technical assistance, whenever you're having an issue in your server or you're having an issue with the server or whenever you're having an issue with the service, you want to reach out to Amazon. How can you do that? Okay, so you can come here and you can click this option, the question mark. So let me show that. Okay, so first thing, let me also try to add this. So how can I reach Amazon? This is very important. Okay, in interviews, okay, they ask you how often do you reach AWS support? Okay, for what type of questions you reach AWS support? How do you reach AWS support? When you're applying for some L1, L2 roles, this kind of basic questions they'll also ask. Okay, so for when you'll reach AWS, so first thing, for any sort of account, or account and billing related questions. You'll be reaching. And if your account is free tier, okay, you have this option. All right. And second thing, technical related questions. For example, your server is not performing well, you want to reach out to them, or you want to add few services into your, you want to start adopting few services in your account, but you want some guidance. That means you need to have some technical support. Or you want to use a service you don't know how to use, you need to have a technical support. And in order to gain the technical support, your account should not be free tier. It should be a part of either developer or business edition. Developer or enterprise edition. And for both of them, you need to pay. Even in my case, I'm using a free tier account. Okay, but still I pay. Okay, so let me show you that. Okay, I think yesterday when I was creating, let me show you. In the same AWS account creation procedure, I have demonstrated that. So at the bottom, you do have an option. So if all of our accounts falls under the category of this, so we won't be having the technical support, but I am there, whatever you want, I'm gonna help you. So you don't need support, technically I'm your support. Okay, but if you go with these guys, they give you technical support. Okay, these are the type of accounts: developer account or free tier account, developer account or business account. All right, so let me try to show you how to raise a ticket, or how to reach Amazon. Come here. Okay, my screen got hung. Why? I will go here. Just a second, let me clean this. Okay, so all you need to do is, sorry. System got hung. Yeah, can someone please confirm me, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Anyone? All right, I encountered an intermediate glitch. Okay, thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. So how can I reach? How can I place a request with Amazon? It's very simple. All you need to do is come here and click on this plus button, question mark, go to the support center. And in the support center, you can come and mention, okay, I would like to create for example, you want to reach Amazon in your organization. You can click the technical support, but if you go here and say create a case, what they say, technical support is available only for the business accounts. Can you see this? Technical support is unavailable for the sub basic account. Mine is a basic account. For example, you got some huge bill like $200 or $300. You want to reach Amazon. How can you reach Amazon? Come here, you can come and select the service. And I would like to reach them related to billing. Come here, click on this, and you can click on the category, say that I want to talk to you guys, baby payment issue. Payment issue, no, not related to down. Invoices and reports. Okay, now scroll down and next step, and you can say brief issue of your summary. Okay, request to review the billing and offer me some credit. Okay, I can reach them. Hi team. Recently I have started using AWS. And as a part of the initial exploration, just an example. I am using AWS services and they are really good, but I could see I was charged with $100, and please consider this Okay, you can just come here and say that they're gonna create an account. That's it. Go and say whether how Amazon wants to reach you, web, phone, or call. I'll say web. That's it. Now an Amazon representative will look for it based on the priority, and they're gonna respond you here. You don't have to call them and tell them. It all goes by chat, communication, all these things. Okay. So for example, in my case, I have raised a couple of support cases. The reason why I have raised in the last time was I want 40 instances as a part of the project. I want 40 servers. Okay, I was doing some freelancing for some company. I want to test something. I want 45 servers at the time. I was also do freelancing. So at the time, I requested them to increase. Okay, so at the minimum number of the maximum number of servers that you can create is 15 to 20. In case if you want to increase the limit, you can reach Amazon telling, hey, can you please go ahead and increase the request to hello, I'm following to know. Okay, so I asked them to increase my request to 100 from 30. Okay, I raised a request like this. After a few days, they increased the limit. Okay, now I can create maximum of 100 servers. And this limitation, what can be the maximum number of servers that you can create, is called as a quota. Okay, quota defines what is the maximum number of servers that you can use. Okay, this is just to prevent the brute force attacks and hacking of your account. In case if your account got hacked, we don't want someone to bankrupt you by running huge number of servers. Okay, quota defines the maximum resource level that can be used. Okay, so it's something based on what your company wants. Okay, so yeah, but by default on Amazon you get 15 to 20 servers. That number always varies. In case down the line, if you are not able to create servers more than 10 or 15, this is how you can reach out to Amazon and tell them that, hey, I want you to guys help me with increase of my quota. Okay, so that's called quota. All right, quota is nothing but what can be the maximum number of resources that you can use. And that's for today. And I want to give a quick update. And meeting link remains the same. And majority of the people who have joined has confirmed their enrollment. I really appreciate each and everyone. Whosoever has confirmed their enrollment, you would have got an email by this time with all the details. Please use those details, okay? And whoever has R2 confirm, please ensure you update us. So we're gonna onboard you. And there won't be any changes in the meeting details till further notice. And the batch timings remains the same, Monday to Saturday morning 6 to 7:30. And the meeting link remains the same till further notice. This is not going to be changed. And that's for today. And if you have any questions, and I'm ready to take up the questions. Any questions, anyone?